Hello, everybody. If you're just joining us, we have about 67 participants now. Need about 33 more to get over 100. So please let your teammates know that we have a phenomenal speaker for you here today, and that is none other than Mr. Clark. We have Dane Clark as our presenter here today, and started with Renatus. He was actually working two jobs, one in Apple and one as a roofer. Now at Apple, he wasn't the guy that right when you walk in, they kind of surround you and say, "Oh, how can I help you?" He was more of the type of person. He was very shy. He was actually in the back counting iPhones, counting iPads, and he really was not a forefront person because he was very shy. Now, around the same time, he was also working as a roofer, and with fair skin and red hair, roofing was not exactly his cup of tea, and it was just a part of a family business that because of his father. And working these jobs, Daine was barely making ends meet, and he started looking for other income opportunities. He got invited down to Renatus and was by Mitch Nelson, who was also working at Apple. And after seeing the Renatus opportunity, he actually decided to plug in right away and apply the velocity banking strategy to pay down his education debt. Then, by using the leverage he generated from that, after paying that down, he used his leverage as a down payment on a duplex. That's the dream that many, many people aspire for, to live on one side and rent out the other, and that's exactly what Daine did. Now, we fast forward to today. Daine has now raised over $3.5 million from investors to lend on various real estate transactions. He's grown his team. He's a PIT team member, and we are just incredibly fortunate to have Daine today as our featured speaker. So without further delay, I'd like to bring Dane Clark on the line. Good morning, Daine. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Cool. And, thank you so much for that introduction. That was, that's awesome of you to share that and give me those high regards. But I too, I'm super excited to share today. So without further ado, let me go ahead and just share my screen here. And share. Cool. Can you guys see me if I bump over here to OneNote? Can you see this okay, Abby?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Perfect. So today I'm actually really glad that you shared both of those videos. I'm not sure if you did that by design or if it just happened to be kind of what I wanted to talk about today. So that both of those lead in perfectly to what I wanted to talk about. So as like Abby said, when I got started, I was crazy shy and I was really, it was really hard to talk to people. And I noticed that people, when you actually get paid in this business, you never get paid by houses. To date, I've done 30 some odd deals. And today I've never had a house whip out a checkbook and write me a check. It was always people that you're working with, that because they add value in your house, whether it was a rental or whether you're flipping the house or whatever it is, people would end up writing checks, whether they gave me a check every month or they got a loan from their bank and their bank wrote that check. So early on, I decided to really have my focus as how can I help people? So how can I use Renatus's education to help people and get paid by doing that? So again, I'm going to talk mainly about how I talk to people, and I've got a whole bunch of stories that I want to share to illustrate how you can take Renatus's education and have conversations with people that end with, oh my gosh, Dane, like I want to write you a check. Like I love whatever value you have for me. So now the way that I was able to do this, and you guys have all heard this, but basically the plan, right? Everybody knows and everybody has seen this, but if you watch your education and you get through your essentials first, and that alone is a huge accomplishment, to say, I have checked off my essentials. I've watched all of my tax, banking, my business, my legal, my credit classes, and so on and so forth. And then what I also tell people is there's an educational goal, and then I also have a networking goal as you're going along. And so level 1 networking, as you're going through your education, because I mean, again, you guys all get this. If you want to do real estate deals, then what's your education? And if you want to sell Renatus education, then, well, watch your education. And so getting through that is going to lead to money either way, and being able to check that off. So level 1 networking, back to that. I call this, as you're just learning, the conversation that you have from people or with people is not going to be like, hey, I'm a millionaire and I'm a real estate investor. No, this is more of like, hey, like, I'm just getting started. I'm having a lot of fun. Everything I'm learning is making tons of sense. So there's two, and if you guys have ever seen my follow-up, I always talk about there's 2 types of people to network with. One of them is peers. I mean, just having people around you that also share an excitement or passion for real estate investing. Doesn't matter what their education level is, but just networking with people who share that excitement for real estate investing is crucial to having an accelerated success. I mean, a lot of people can go have success, but an accelerated success, peers are going to be very important. And the second type of people are your professionals. And so, like I say, level 1 is more of like, hey, I'm just getting started. I'm excited. I'm learning. And so again, to take this to a deeper level of networking, there's 2 types of peers that I've found. Renatus students that, I mean, if you talk to a Renatus student, I guarantee they're going to share your passion in real estate investing. And that conversation, a lot of people come on like a Thursday night or a Wednesday night, or, whenever we're running meetings around the nation. And a lot of people, when the meeting is over, they'll go sit in their cars out in the parking lot because they want to keep on talking about real estate investing. So that's what you'll find inside the community. But the second type are non-students that you'll start talking to in this level 1 of networking. And you just start talking to anybody that you know or anybody that you meet. And when they ask you questions about yourself, and you say, hey, I'm getting involved in real estate investing. I'm just learning. In fact, this year, and you just share your goals. This year, I'd like to flip my first house, and I'm already lining up, some relationships, and I'm learning how to find real estate deals and how to make sure that I don't pay a bunch of taxes, and how I can, leverage the banking systems and flip it on its head from what most people do in this country, and so on and so forth. So then moving on, obviously, if you want to go do real estate deals, then you want to learn a real estate system, whether it's flipping houses or buying rental properties or whatever it is. So as you're going along that pace, we're still learning. So let's just, the most popular is flipping homes. So let's just use that as an example. But this is true for any type of deal. I mean, Renatus teaches that you don't have to start with flips if you don't want to. You can start with anything you want. And I just recently helped a student where he just said, Dane, all I want is to buy an apartment complex. I want a multifamily unit. I don't care about flips. I don't care about single family rentals. I just want an apartment complex. And so that's what he focused on, and was able to close his first deal a few months ago on just an apartment. So just remember that. Start on what you would like to finish on, because Renatus has enough education and And there's so much networking available inside of the community and out that you can do that first type of deal. So this level 2 networking though, and I'm going to get to the point of this in just a sec, but I just want to lay this groundwork. So level 2 of networking is you still are talking to peers and professionals, but this time, now that you're actually learning how to go build wealth in real estate and learn how to put money together and create partnerships in your real estate deals, especially if you need other people's money to do your real estate deals, then now you start networking on this level 2, where your peers and professionals, whether they're Renata students or non-Renata students, I have found that the conversation between these two people is actually the same. You have to have the same conversation, and that goes two ways. If you want to put money together, or if you want to create some kind of a partnership, you need to use the same language in that conversation with a Renata student that should have also watched that class, or with a non-Renata student. I mean, the conversation is the same. People that are not Renata students, they just don't know that they want to invest in real estate yet. But yeah, like I said, same conversation. So a lot of the conversation that you'll have with people here in doing real estate deals are, all of, your peers and professionals, and your contractors and your title agents and your realtors and all that kind of stuff. And so you want to be on a level, and this is my favorite phrase to communicate with, money, contractors, title agents, realtors, inspectors, whoever that is. And so that level 2, you want these conversations to end in really fast. If I pull back the curtain here, all you do is find leads, analyze deals, and make offers on properties. So once you're done with this and you can check this off, which again, this is a huge accomplishment to say, yes, I have finished my AIT classes that I wanted to go through to help me do my real estate deals. And so anyway, this is the race to get to that moment where you are an educated investor making offers that has been networking. And so with this end in mind, making offers, every conversation that you meet with contractors or realtors or inspectors or money partners is, hey, I am eventually, very quickly soon, or very soon here, I am going to start making offers. And so when you're networking with these other people that, maybe write a check, or they're going to use their time to fix your house, then you want that conversation to end in, hey, I need to know what I can and can't commit to, because I am going to be making offers on properties. And so I need a contractor or a title agent, or I need to make sure that I've got money lined up. So I need to know what I can and can't commit to, because as I'm making offers and somebody says yes to my offer to come in and buy this house and pay cash for it and fix it all up and whatever that is, then I need to know on the back end that I've got my team that I can call. And so that when I get somebody who says yes, that I can call you, Mr. Contractor, Mr. Potential equity partner, realtor, inspector, whatever, and say, obviously, let's say you're talking about money. Obviously, I'm not asking you for your money now. I just need to know what I can and can't commit to when I get somebody who says yes. So that I know what I can and can't commit to, what kind of a dollar amount could you come to the table with obviously on a good deal, but what kind of dollar amount could you come in with, just so I know what I can and can't commit to. And so that's level 2, is getting everybody on that kind of a relationship, and you put these people on your team, your inspector, your meth tester, your contractor, whatever it is, and start moving forward. So anyway, so back. Oh. Sorry, what's that? Is somebody trying to ask a question? Or do I need to mute people?
Ya primero le hablaba, que la chula se puso muy quieta. Era las 3 de la mañana.
Mute everybody. Okay. Okay, so back to this. Conversations that you'll have with people that lead to real estate deals and selling education, or getting people on board where they grab an oar and they become a Renata student. So some of you may have heard me say this before, but I basically I've been able to put every single person that I have talked to, whether, and in regards to real estate investing, but every single person I talked to, into 4 different boxes. And so the way that I'm able to find out very quickly which box people fit into is, first off, obviously you want to ask questions about these people, and you want to get to know them, and you want to, understand what their goals are, what are they shooting for. So for example, if I go back to the very first person that I ever really talked to about real estate when I was looking for resources to do deals, as well as deals themselves, I talked to a gentleman whose name was Glenn. And Glenn was somebody that I knew from my history when I was, when I first joined Renatus, I was still in my early mid-20s. And so, I knowing this guy, he was a lot older than me. He was a friend of my father's, and he was a part of my local congregation at my church. And so he kind of saw me grow up. And so I'm asking Glenn questions like, hey, Glenn, I haven't talked to you in, years. I moved out, I got married, I'm doing, whatever. How have you been? How are your kids? Because I mostly knew his kids. And so how, and I was like, what, Glenn, I actually don't know what you did as a living. I never got to know you on that level, and I'm starting a new career and all that kind of stuff. So what did you do? And so I'm asking Glenn all these different questions. Okay. And then the second step, so step 1 is ask, step 2 is share. You're doing. And so then I just started sharing with Glenn what my goals were, and always make this real estate based. And so I told Glenn, I said, Glenn, I have been thinking about retirement. Yeah, I know I'm young, but I've been thinking about that. I don't want to create a 401k and stockpile a bunch of money in it and give it to somebody else. That if they make me a bunch of money, then I pay them a fee. But if they lose me a bunch of money, then I pay them the same fee. It just doesn't make sense to me to start a 401k and retire off of that kind of a system. And so I've been thinking about getting into real estate investing to, over time, build myself a nice retirement. And, anyway, so I started talking about that, and Glenn, he started getting excited about what I was talking about. He said, Dane, that is so cool. I've actually loved real estate. In fact, I own a rental right now. I just have one, but I've got this property, and I've got it for rent, and I don't cash flow from it right now. But as soon as that mortgage is paid off, then it's going to cash flow, quite a bit, and I'll be maybe able to make, several thousand dollars a year off of this rental once it's paid off. And so this is box number 1. When you just start opening a normal conversation with anybody, and they start sharing your passion for real estate investing, then this is box number 1. So Glenn got excited, and he starts telling me I've always wanted to get into real estate. I've always, I wanted to do more, but I'm a successful business owner, so I haven't really had a lot of time to put towards it. But yeah, that's so cool. We should, I said, essentially, as soon as I knew that Glenn was in this box, and I call this my passive investor box. And the reason I knew that Glenn was here was because he told me he did not have a lot of time, but he wanted to dish resources to real estate. And so, today we won't go into what I go into from here, but today is focused on this box number 2. And so I want to share the rest of the boxes with you guys, and then share what I like to do with box number 2. So essentially, when you have the same conversation with somebody, you're asking them questions and, how's the family? How's work? How's life? How's, what, other than work, what are you most passionate about? All those, asking. And then you start sharing like, yeah, I've actually been thinking about getting into real estate. In fact, I'm already figuring out how to go and find discounted real estate. I just saw a guy get $100,000 discount on a real estate deal. I mean, every single Renata student has seen somebody get $100,000 discount too. If you haven't, watch your classes or show up to the weekly meetings and just start networking. Because, I mean, every Renata student should know somebody who just got a $100,000 discount on a real estate deal. And if you're on this call, then you've met me, then you know somebody who's got a $100,000 discount. So you can say that. And so, whatever it is that you start telling them, like, yeah, I want to flip a house. I'm learning how to learn how to finance them. I'm already lining up money because back to here, like I'm already lining up money. I'm already lining up, again, just watching your education and understanding how to communicate is going to build a lot of credibility for you, even if you've never done a real estate deal. I had never done a real estate deal when I was talking to Glenn, but on my own. So anyway, the education prepared me. All right, box number 2. So when you start talking to a different person, but same conversation, and you just start sharing real estate goals and learnings and things like that, and the person also responds and says, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to learn how to flip houses, or I've always wanted to flip houses myself. And so the second type of person has the commodity of time. And this person is basically telling you that I want to start a business in real estate too. I've always wanted to buy lots of rentals, and I've always wanted to flip houses or apartments or whatever it is. And so they start sharing that they have that commodity of time. And I found that this box, either, and it doesn't really matter if they have money or if they don't. Like Abhi talked about, I was a redheaded roofer that counted iPhones. And so I didn't have any money, but when I joined Renatas, I said, yes, I want to put my time in education and then in making educated offers and putting deals together. And so it doesn't matter if you're this person or if you're this person. I call this box my active investor box, where these are the people that have time. Okay, so this is me. That this is also every single person on this call. If you're a Renata student, then I would consider you an active real estate investor, because you want to go analyze deals and make offers and put properties together and have these conversations with contractors and title agents and realtors and inspectors and meth testers and all that kind of stuff. Not smokers, but just meth testers, right? Unless you're buying the house from the meth smoker, and that's totally fine. So active real estate investor. So I'll talk about this conversation in just a minute, where you go from there. But the third box are people like, if I share my very first conversation, I talked to a gentleman whose name was Daine. And Daine had an issue. When I started asking him all these questions, like, he didn't share with me the issue yet. He was telling me about, this was like a 45-minute phone call as I'm talking to Daine, and he's like, Daine, I want to buy a houseboat and put it down on Lake Powell and rent it out and timeshares, and so he's telling me all these different things. But then when I started talking about, like, cool, I actually want to get into real estate investing, Dwayne's like, oh my gosh, I actually have a property. And so I call these people the people that have property. Yeah, and the more I learned about Daine from the questions that I was asking him based on the education that I had taken from Renatas, I was like, oh my gosh, Daine's real estate property is causing him problems. And I'm Renatas educated, so I want to see if I can figure out a solution to Daine's problem. And so that's what we talked about. And so over time, I learned, and so this box, I call this box survival mode. Survival mode. I learned that Daine was in survival mode, especially when it came to this property. And he started telling me all these different things that were going on. And so because of Daine's situation, I didn't really want his time, because he's in survival mode. Like, he's like, I gotta figure out what to do with this property. Like, I got 11 days to figure something out before I'm in default with my loan on this property. And so even these people, typically they're in this situation because they don't have money or access to money. And so Daine was in survival mode with a property. And so the conversation, you know, again, I don't want to go into that today, but the conversation basically leads to like, hey, I'm going to solve this problem for you. And so long story short, Glenn and Daine were one of the first people that I talked to as a Renata student that was ready to start making offers on my own, and, you know, without necessarily calling other people and asking for help every single step of the way. So at the end of the day, I just called Glenn back from the conversation that we had of, hey, I need to know what I can and can't commit to. And he said, okay, great. You know, I got a little bit of money. And so I called Glenn back and say, hey, I found a real estate problem and we can help this person with that real estate problem. And so I, you know, got in the middle of that and we made some money. Okay, fourth box. And I just want to go through this real quick. Fourth box are people that, as you start having the same conversation where you're asking them a bunch of questions and then you start sharing your real estate goals, they're like, oh man, I hope you have fun with that. Or, oh, I hope you make money. Or let me know when you actually make any money. Or like, dude, you're crazy. Like, let me know when you lose money. Or like, have fun with that. Or, you know, anything that you hear that is not excitement, then I put these people in this box. Okay, I do not care if they have time or if they have money. I call this my not interested box. Okay, and so, or Bob mentioned it perfectly in the video at the beginning of this of crab people. Okay, these are the crab people that are pulling you down or basically have no support for your goals. And so I just put these in my not interested box. And again, I don't want to take a bunch of time on this particular topic because the key for today is I want to talk about these active investors. But a long story short, I ended up talking to a gentleman who, let's talk about Bridger. And I talked to Bridger and he initially got excited, and he would have been an active investor where he's like, yeah, like I want to be doing what you're doing, Dan. I want to learn how to flip houses. And he was not impressed because I hadn't done any deals yet. And so he was just like, yeah, whatever. And so call me when you actually do a deal. And I was like, fine. So I put Bridger in my not interested box. But the cool thing about my not interested box is, I mean, these people have a special place in my heart. Every single person that is not interested in real estate, they have a special place in my heart, because usually if somebody is not interested in real estate investing, life is going to slap them in the face at least once in their lifetime. And so that typically happens. So Bridger actually just called me, you know, this was years ago that I talked to Bridger. Now, I want every single person listening to this call, answer this question for yourself. If you stayed focused in the Renatus plan for the next year, maybe two, and Bridger called you back, you know, because if Bridger was your friend, and Bridger called you back a year from now or 2 years from now and said, hey, are you still doing that real estate thing that you were telling me about a year or 2 years ago? Ask yourself this question. Would this conversation be fun for you to have with Bridger this year or 2 years later? And I would hope that the answer would be yes. And so when Bridger called me and said, hey, you still doing that real estate thing? I was like, yes, I am actually. And I just reverted back to the script. I started asking him questions like, yeah, I'm still doing that real estate thing. What have you been doing? You know, what you been up to, Bridger? How's life? How's the family? You go back to the normal script. And then at this point, Bridger is freaking out because I'm not sharing him what I've been doing for the last couple of years. And so he started asking me, so Daine, what have you been doing? I said, oh, Bridger, I've actually done over 30 deals in the last couple of years. I actually started my own bank. And, we got millions of dollars out right now. We're making money, all that kind of stuff. So this was a very fun conversation for me. And at this point, you get to brag just a little bit. And so needless to say, Bridger was very impressed a couple of years later. And I'm so glad that he was in my not interested box and he saw me when I was new. And then he saw me again a year or two later. And so needless to say, Bridger is actually the proud owner of his own Renatus education. And he is now an active investor that he's going through his education and he's actually looking for his first deal right now. And so that was really cool. I have so many people in this not interested box that saw me when I was new and then eventually said, Daine, are you still doing that real estate thing? And they jumped boxes, whether they jumped to, hey, I have a deal. I know you're still doing that real estate thing. Can you help me with this situation with the real estate property that has a problem? Or, hey, Daine, are you still doing that real estate thing? And cool, I actually have a bunch of money that I just, in fact, I just got a call yesterday from a guy that I met, probably like 2 years ago. 2 years ago this month is when I first met him. And he kind of got an idea of what I was doing. And over the last year, he's kind of watched me because we're friends on Facebook. And he just called me and said, Daine, I've been watching you for 2 years, man. And I just sold my business. I've got all this money sitting in the bank. And I have a feeling that you know what to do with it, that can get me something much better than what I'm getting in it. I'm getting for it right now sitting in my savings account. Can you help me out? I've got around $100,000 just sitting in my bank account. And I said, sure, let's meet next week. And so he called me yesterday. We had that conversation. So I'm meeting with him next week. So anyway, you guys get the idea. Now let's talk about this box for what you do with people that say, oh my gosh, I have always wanted to get into real estate, or I always want to flip a house or buy a rental or whatever it is. Okay. So essentially, you need to get very good at a skill that you want to build as a real estate investor is how to get people on your calendar and meet with them. Yeah. So there's a couple of different things. If people show excitement about, any one of these boxes really doesn't matter other than the last one. Don't do this with the last one, but any one of these boxes, then you want to get something on your calendar. So if somebody starts showing excitement, you whip out your phone and pull up your calendar and say, cool, let's meet. I want to talk about this. Okay. So there's a couple of different things you could do with somebody that gets excited about getting into real estate investing. The most money that I've been able to make with this type of person that is telling me, indirectly that they want to become an active real estate investor is to bring them down to a community, basically a Renatus based community event. For example, if I believe Denver does this on Wednesdays. Here in Utah, we do this on Thursdays, but bring somebody down to a community event. Or we have house tours. So let's see, they call it the Pillars presentation, or we have house tours, or there's even intensives. Yeah, there we go. So essentially that conversation turns to like, oh my gosh, you got to come and see what I'm doing. I've been learning how to, buy real estate with $100,000 discounts. Like I mentioned, you got to come and see these people that I'm networking with. In fact, I'll introduce you to a guy that just got a $100,000 discount on a house. And so you basically just get them on your calendar and invite them to come down to a community event and whatever that one is. And then from there, you just invite them to come to the next community event. If they came to the 5 pillars, then bring them to a house tour. If they came to the 5 pillars, then bring them to the group follow-up. Or if they came to a house tour, then bring them to the 5 pillars. Or if you brought them to an intensive, then bring them to a house tour or the 5 pillars or whatever it is. So you just keep on, essentially, you just keep on getting them from event to event to event. And then in between there's 2 things also, because I mean, it has happened to me, but more often than not, when somebody, you know, like I said, people back up here at the top, if I scroll all the way back up here, every time I've gotten paid, it's because people whipped out their credit card or their checkbook or, you know, whatever it is. And so more often than not, I have had people give me their credit card information to buy Renatus in a one-on-one situation, okay? And so you also want to be doing the same thing. So we've all heard Michael say that word, a BAM fam, always book a meeting from a meeting. And so I typically schedule 2 meetings when we sit down, come to the next community event and meet one-on-one with the 5-star. Whoever their 5-star is going to be. And then once that meeting is done make sure you come to the next community event. And let's meet again one-on-one. And here's your homework for us meeting again one-on-one, okay? And you put the order in, and you accept their credit cards in these different meetings, okay? And so that is how I've been able to monetize anybody that I talk to that falls in that box where they say, Dane, I want to close some deals, man. I want to flip some houses. I want to buy some rental properties. Is get them down to community events, schedule the one-on-ones where you're just talking about what they can do that's going to add value to them and their situation of you know, get an idea of what they want to do, flip a house or whatever it is, and you talk about the plan of, you know, get through education all the way to the point. I basically just tell them this: get educated, start networking, level 1, level 2. Once we're educated to this point, you can check this off, and you're building that networking level where you can have conversations that end in, hey, I need to know what I can and can't commit to. And you start making offers on your property, and you get your yes, and you call all your people and say, hey, everybody, I got one. Come and do what you do, Mr. Contractor. Get me bit, you know. So I basically, that's what I tell them, is I talk about the plan, and then I say, sound like a plan? Great. And actually the thing I say to put the order in is, you know, the very conversation I have is, hey, I got a really, you know, I tell them all those things. I say, hey, I got a really dumb question for you at this point. You ready? And they're always like, yeah. Where are you going with this? I say, do you like this idea? Does this make sense to you? Like, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to do this? And everyone's usually like, no, this makes a lot of sense. I say, cool. Well, your next step is, let's get your order in, or AKA, let's create your account. It takes like 5 minutes to do this. You'll have a login. And so as we're going through the step 2 of finding funding, and you're coming to the next community event at the same time, then, you know, once we find your funding, then you already have your account, so you can just unlock your education and get going. So sounds like we got some more background noise here. Let me mute everybody. All right. And so that system basically of just making sure that you're giving people what they want, because at the end of the day, let me talk about this really fast. So at the end of the day, the way to monetize your conversations is you understand what they want, okay? And you understand what they have. And then you, based on what you learn about what they want and what they have, you already know what you want. You already know what you want. And you should already know what you have. And so either way, if they have what you want, then you can exchange because you have what they want. And so this is when you make money, is when you exchange what they have and you want, or what they want and you have. So for example, this person wants what you have. You have Renata's education. You have this plan. You have Renata's education. You have a network of people. You have a community of peers and professionals, and you know, you have the plan, and people want that, and you want to get paid. And so because you have what this active real estate investor or a new active real estate investor wants, I mean, even a seasoned real estate investor. I mean, a lot of you, I'm sure have heard the stories of people that joined Renata's that already were very successful in real estate, but Renata's had what they wanted. Whether, you know, maybe they didn't need education, maybe they just needed the community. And so anyway, you get the idea. You figure out what they want, and you share with them what you have, and so that you can give them what you have and exchange that for what they want. And I mean, this goes with any of these boxes. I mean, like example for Glenn. Glenn had money, and he wanted to make money with his money. I had deals, and so we exchanged, you know, his money for my deals, and I make money every time I do that. And Glenn has given me over $500,000. And Glenn has given me a referral named Van, who also has given me over $500,000. And Van gave me a referral named Russ, who also, and it goes on and on and on and on, okay? And so the same thing here. This box, they have property. They want the property gone. You have a plan and connections. And so you can exchange that. So anyway, I hope that makes sense with this little triangle, or whatever you want to call this, of understanding what people want and give them what you have to give, and monetize that every time. So I hope that makes sense. We've got just a couple minutes here, so I'm going to open this up for just a few questions. Looks like we've got a whole bunch of chat stuff too. Love it. Watch your education. Yeah, people would love to have the conversation. A year from now, if you have people in your not interested box, having those conversations, it's fun. Some of you people were in somebody's not interested box and said, "Oh my gosh, I gotta get involved now. I've seen all the things that you guys have been doing." I was technically in Mitch's not interested box for a whole year. But any other questions that people would like to ask? Oh, I got a just brand new comment here. Where do we revisit this presentation? I believe Abby has it being recorded, and it will be posted on a YouTube channel. I believe it's either the Michael Huggins or maybe Renata's Elevate or something like that. The last time I talked to Michael, he actually subscribed me to it. So I will be able to pull that up for you. Elevate Renata's. So go search Elevate Renata's on YouTube, and all of the, I believe all of the recordings are going to be posted right here. And there's a bunch of them. So great question there. So did you watch your education essentials before trying to talk to anybody about the referral side? I was watching my education. So to answer that question, I was watching my education as I was getting educated. And that's even why I talk about, you know, real estate, networking level 1, because I hadn't done anything yet. I had just credibility 0. And so it was more of like, hey, this is what I'm learning. And, you know, same idea. If I go back to this, when I was just learning and hadn't done any deals yet, I would still do this and put people in boxes, because even if they ended up in my not interested box, I was totally okay with that. Well, I mean, I should say this. I was not okay with that because I was so shy and so I hadn't built a lot of self-esteem. Like, it actually hurt me when people like Bridger would be placed into my not interested box. But now, I mean, you can imagine, I am so grateful that Bridger was in my not interested box when I was new and hadn't done any deals yet, hadn't made any money yet, because it led to a great conversation years later. And so to answer that question, just make sure you are watching your education and you start this level 1 of this networking and talking to people about real estate, because it's going to lead somewhere. And whether it's that first deal, that first money for a deal, or that first student, you know, the credibility is Renata's. You don't have to have the credibility. I mean, ask them what they're capable of. If they're worried that you just got started and haven't made any money yet, ask them what they're capable of, and use the credibility of Renatus itself and all the people that have made money there. So let's see, any other questions that I missed? Thanks for the real usable information. Cool. Anything else, or are we ready to go? And anybody's welcome to come off of mute as well, as posting to the chat. Cool. Sounds like we are good to go. Abby, are you still on? I'm not actually sure what I need to do at this point.
Hey, Dane, I got a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you said when they would say they're not interested part, it would like bug you. How did you eventually overcome
that? I just got used to it. I've got probably 500 people in my not interested box, and so if I even put this to scale, let me change colors here. If I put this to scale, I have about 22 people in this box, and that's, you know, three some odd $1 million. I've got about 70 people in this box, and that's been hundreds of thousands of dollars in Renata's commissions. I've probably got about 15 people in this box, and that's also led to hundreds of thousands of dollars. I probably have like 500 people that I've got in this box. So eventually it just becomes okay for you to be like, you know what? They're just not interested yet. Because these, you know, like I said, people, I just changed my mindset for people in my non-interested box. I said, you know what? You're just not interested yet. I basically call that farming, because farmers plant seeds and seeds eventually sprout. Some never do, but seeds eventually sprout. And so, like I said, I just made it perfectly okay that some people are just plain old not interested. And that's totally fine, because not everybody's going to be. Great question. Let's see, sharing. Other than your warm market conversations, do you have other ways that you market? Not really anymore. I can't even think of the last time. Oh, you know what? I do a little bit of like Facebook, just like lifestyle type of stuff. But not a ton. I mean, primarily most of the money I've made, you know, which is funny because when I first got started, I really only made money because I was putting those you know, stupid roadside signs on the side of the road, because I was a little too scared to talk to like everybody that I was talking, you know, that was in my warm market. So that's how I kind of like got my start. And then I just kind of talked to a few people in my warm market. But then when I learned that the conversation is the same, and that even though people go in my not interested box, does not mean that no longer are my friend. I mean, everybody in my not interested box is still my friend, and I still have a good relationship with them, but I don't, it's a way faster way to money. You know, if you join Renatus to make money, you'll make them a lot faster by just talking to people that you can speak with face to face, that, you know, that know your name. You know, they don't have to be like, you know, mom and dad. I mean, my dad is a proud owner of his Renatus education at a full combo, and my sister just bought her education last night. You know, so yeah, they, you know, but yeah, I think you guys know what I'm trying to say. Just talk to people. I don't care who you talk to. Let's see, what are those numbers again? I think you're asking, I have 22 people in my passive investor box that I'm doing it's like $3.5 million, a little bit more than $3.5 million that I've got their money in real estate, 70 students now, and about 15 people that we've been able to help in getting their real estate deal or real estate problem solved, and then probably somewhere around 500 in my not interested box. Or I should say my not interested yet box. Cool. Great questions, guys. We're at the top of the hour, and love you all. Let me know how your successes go. I want to hear stories.